So with our handsome Mr. Z, we were going to practice a little bit with the scratch board. So there are many different venues for, scratch boards. So for example, I'm just doing a couple find its just to keep them busy. So there are scratch boards you can purchase online or different types of shops. There's different styles now. This one's just a flat one. There are some that are curved, almost like an M or like a W shape. So you can kind of have the pup's two front toenails and the two side toenails be able to kind of be worked all at the same time. With my guys, I've had them figure out how to come at the scratch board at different angles. So even with a flat one, I'm still able to get all four of the toenails in the front. There are, again, some really awesome cooperative care videos and resources available as well online. So if you're looking for more information, oh, that's very nice, sir. If you're looking for more info on it, there is the Cooperative Care with Deb Jones. I know we had mentioned this a little bit earlier when we were first trying the scratch board with him, which was maybe a few months ago now. I haven't done it with him in a little bit, so we'll see if he sort of remembers how to rock it. Right now, I'm just doing a few little find its just to keep him busy as I was blabbing. So my scratch board came with the sandpaper, but then as I used it, it started to get, again, a little bit less coarse, so it wasn't working as well. So I ended up just, in my attempt to take it off, it wasn't peeling very well. So I just got a new piece of sandpaper at a home improvement store, and then I ended up just sticking it on with double-sided sticky tape just right at the top. So that way I'll be very easily able to pull this one off compared to the other one which came with the product is sort of stuck on there. So all different varieties available. I know he's gotten kind of a bit taller, so I'm going to see if he can rock it with this on the ground. It does have a little stand, but I kind of like being able to hold it at different angles from my own arm. So again, different varieties available. So I'm going to try and get his attention. I'm going to put the food right here. Nice. So even if he paws at it but doesn't actually scrape it, no big deal. I'm going to try and actually lift it up a little bit because he's a taller gentleman now. I like to have the food in my hand and kind of cup it. And then that way, yes, as he goes to apply his foot to the item or scratch it, even if he paws it or puts a paw on almost like a step up or a paws up, you can always start there. So I show him the little snack. I'm going to see, he's like, lady, I'm already winded. See if you can get him up because, of course, laying down doesn't help. So while he's sitting or standing, and get his attention, see if I can go ahead, see if he sees the snack. Oh, he says, would you like that instead? He's all about his downs today. He's probably gotten a little bit winded because we were playing earlier and doing some flirt pole practice. So, but if let's say he's a little bit unsure, I might start this off a little easier because it has been a little bit of time. So let's say your babe hasn't done right there, yes, and I'm going to go ahead and feed away from the item. So if your babe hasn't done this in a while, you could even do this as a pause up or step up. So your puppy could all by themselves start to hone in and target it. You could also lure, yes, and feed for every time they end up putting a foot or bump it or sniff it. So that way you can start to, yes, build up the comfort range of just plopping toes onto the item and not have it be too overwhelming. So again, I'm going to toss a little snack away so we can reboot the handsome guy. There's obviously several different ways to kind of rock this. So if your pup is more sensitive or a little bit unsure, you might find doing the paws up or step up and getting the puppy to practice putting toes on it before you start implementing the upper level of it, which could be having it raised up or at an angle. I think he ended up stepping on one of the snacks and it's stuck underneath his foot. So he smells it, but can't find it. And I think it's under his toes. So with Mr. Z, ready, Zeus? Ready? He's like, lady, I swear I smell it. I think you stepped on it, sir. So the problem with obviously nice squishy snacks is sometimes if you step on them, they get stuck on your foot. There we go. You all better? Terrible day. So right there, yes. So I'm going to toss the food away off to the front there so we can reboot him. And I'm going to see if I can get him over here and then sort of get his attention on the food and then see if I can go ahead and with the food in my hand, get him to the point where he gets a little flustered, not in a bad way, but almost like would love the snack. Yes, right there, pause and feed for that. Nice job, sir. He's like, oh, the sandpaper tastes delicious. I wouldn't necessarily eat the sandpaper. So if he's getting a little bit confused, he does love his sits and downs. And when he's a little bit unsure, he starts to offer other behaviors that he's had more comfort in and that he's been heavily reinforced for. So down positions for him tend to be a really great, yes, idea, because he has been really nicely reinforced for those skills. So again, I'm going to see if I can get his attention. He's like, oh, that's a very nice high five. If your puppy does know a high five or a paw, you can also transfer that onto this and then start to, again, either cue it with another word. So like my guys, I normally would go scratch, and then they'd end up scratching the board. But remember, he hasn't really done this very much. So even if we've gotten 1 to 2 little scratches or targeting of the item, still a very good start for the handsome guy, since we have taken a bit of time off from using the scratch board. If, though, again, you check out Cooperative Care with Deb Jones, she has a slew of great information and very nice videos, but then there's other students who are also practicing cooperative care with their dogs, and they might, for example, Zeus is like, you would like it down. They will, for example, have some, oh, cool, Ebba. Sorry, Ebba's watching a show while having her snack. So let's say, for example, everybody's dogs will sometimes grasp things a little differently. So you may find that maybe your pup is doing something similar to another student's dog, and then you could start to see, oh, well, that's how they handled that hiccup or that confusion, to help the dog better understand what you're looking for. So if, let's say, for example, he's a little bit unsure and he's offering some really nice positions, I don't want him to get flustered and then frustrated and then kind of give up on the concept. So if for today it's not the easiest idea, I might do a little bit right here, see if I can get him to do, he did poke it with his little toenail, so I'm going to do a little tossing of the food just to get him up and reboot. And then again, might bring him over towards the food, see if I can maybe get him to do a little bit where he might scratch at the item. Right there, yes. So I'm trying to capture it before he goes and lays down, because he does enjoy going into the down position, but I don't want him to think that's what I'm looking for. So ready? 2, if he does know paw or shake, sometimes you could ask for those skills if they've been more refined. So that way your puppy can start to figure out that it's the feet going onto the target is what's getting him the reinforcement. But obviously you can see that he's a little bit unsure about the whole setup. So no big deal. I'll try it with a few of the other babes in the program, and some of them might catch it a little bit easier or figure it out in a little bit of a different method. So, but the main goal is, if, let's say, trimming or clipping, yes, or doing some toenails with the clippers are tricky, this is where the scratch board could be the next best thing, because then your pup can start to, that was very nice, that was a good little attempt, is then your babe can start to figure out that it's for the targeting of the item and then the pawing or scratching of the thing. Oh my goodness, so tired. So for Mr. Z, we'll give him a little breather from this. We'll go into working a few other little skills, but he did give me at least a good 3 or 4 little scratches, which is still very nice. There are some other brands that also have what's a little compartment in here, and you can slide it open and close, put some snacks inside, close it, and then as your pup is sniffing the snacks, they scratch at the board to try to open it up or get to the compartment. So that can work really well for some, is if the food inside here makes more sense, they can then scratch on the board to then get their reinforcement. Good job, sir. So, but the scratch board, definitely something we'll dive into a little bit more later. But he did do a couple good scratches, and I know last time when we did it for a little bit longer, he was starting to catch on a little bit faster, which was very nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and plop the chair off to the side. I know I'm out of range for a moment. Ready, Zeus? So if, let's say, you're ever trying something novel, I know sometimes there are certain things that are a little bit overwhelming. Definitely just try and break it down into smaller steps. So for Mr. Z, we'll just go from trying to work a little bit with the scratch board to a little bit of some loose leash walking. Remember too that as he's getting more comfortable with any skill set and you feel that he's more refined with it, you want to go from, for example, always luring him with the food presented first, to fading out that lure, and again, you want to then feed for the skill or behavior right as he does it. So as opposed to the food being presented first and then having that be the reason he's checking in, you want to go ahead and, let's say, for example, you get your lovely sit, you go yes, and then go ahead and mark it and feed. So the food is coming after the fact. So you're going in and you're still reinforcing for all the great skills, but it wasn't, again, Again, don't love the wordage, but it's not like the bribe presented first to get the work done. It's the work is done, and then from there, we get the paycheck. Nice job, mister. So we might go from here, do a little front. He says, you got nice big toesies. Very nice. So then I might, again, bring him over to the side of me. So sometimes it can be really nice to work a little bit with some rotation through behaviors and skill sets. So I like to sometimes, while doing my loose leash walking, practice and bring the puppy into a front position, which again is right into the front of your body. It can be standing. It can also be a nice little sit, and you can kind of get him into this little check-in. What a nice job. From there, if let's say your puppy was in front of you, but you wanted to keep walking, you could in the beginning lure him off to the side of your body and then continue on your walk again. Ready? Let's go. He's like, I guess so. Mr. Z's already very tired. We did a lot of fun stuff this morning. Good job. So, but always think to yourselves, you know, if the puppy is really struggling or we're having a moment where we're getting frustrated, always try to either, you know, check on the environment and the situation in which you're trying to practice in. A lot of times, if you can control the environment, you can then help your dog be more successful. Good job, sir. Because then what you're dealing with is a softer environment or bubble to practice in, while your dog might still be refining some of those previous skills. Because remember, training is something that we do for the rest of the dog's life and together. So if you're finding that you're looking for the, you know, again, we figured it out, we work it a few times, and it should be perfect. Maintenance, just like on a car, is required. So if we don't maintain and try to make sure things are, you know, again, going in the right direction, your babe might become out of practice or not as refined as we would like, or we start to fail in certain bubbles where maybe the environment becomes much more exciting than even us. So, but Mr. Z did a very nice job trying the scratch board and did a very nice job with some of that loose leash walking in the front and side position, which the side can also be called finish. There's a couple different options, but he's really progressing into a very nice young gentleman. And we'll give him a little break from this, but then I want to work a few other little skills. But very nice job, sir.